Hello. How's everybody doing today? If you guys can see and hear me, let me know, because I had to rush and quick plug my computer in. I didn't have it set up like I thought I would. And I realized that as I went to go live and my computer wasn't at my desk. Hot mess central. All right, so I'm just waiting to hear if you guys can see me and hear me. It's kind of slow. Awesome. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. Hello, Charlie, Fallen Arkansas Veterans. Hello, Lisa Colovi. Hey, Lori at LG Homestead. Rebecca Davis, Touched by Yarn. Hey, Old Swedes Farm. Hello, John Westerberg. Hello, Kitchen Garden Therapy. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was 81 degrees today. So I was outside all day, as you can tell, because I just literally got out of the shower because somebody on Instagram texted in a chat we have going on. They said, oh, well, I'll do that later because Lisa's going live in like 30 minutes. And I went, oh. So I can't even be professional for YouTube. Sorry. But I'm clean at least. That's a good thing. So welcome to my world. What you see is what you get. Hey, Daz, my Aussie Garden and Kitchen. Come on in. Come on in. So we have several guests for tonight. Hey, Mayfield Ranch. So tonight we're going to do something a little different. Of course, we'll always have humor because it's Friday night. But hey, Tony, Kettle Kitchen. Yeah, exactly. I love clean. And for me, it's what you see is what you get. So it's called I Was Out All Day Working and my bad dog is barking. Hold on one second. Bad dog. He should calm down. Ryan's trying, so bear with me. So anyway, he'll calm down. He'll go hang out with Ryan. But yeah, 81 degrees, and I was outside all day long getting stuff done. And it was so hot, we had to pull the pig pools out. So that was really cool. Hey, Rhonda Redeem Prodigal, no worries. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope your son's having a good premiere. Hey, Cool Gamer. Yeah, Ariella, exactly. Diesel. He's a worse mess than I am. Hey, Ricky Ventures. Hey, Danny Wicked Awesome Gardening. Welcome in, you guys. I think Diesel calmed down finally. Hey, Lazy C Homestead. Kristen, welcome in, welcome in. I just want to go back, make sure I didn't miss anybody. But it was really awesome. I got a lot done. Ryan was working, so I'm sure he got a lot done at work. But for those of you who know our first batch of turkeys that we hatched, they're about 5 weeks old now. And it was so warm today, and it's going to be in the 50s tonight. And I said, you know what? You guys are going outside, because I looked at the brooder and their heads were at the top of the brooder. And I said, ugh. So they went out, and I couldn't bear to put them in with the meaty beasts, the meat chickens, because I was afraid they get smothered. So I built a separate pen in there for them today. And they're outside enjoying the fresh air. Perfect day for it. So we have a bunch of guests coming in tonight. Hey, Annette at the Cow Emporium, that we have invited. And guests, you're welcome to come on up when you're ready. We should have room for everyone. I work things out with Bland's Promised Land Ranch, and they will come up later because I can only have 6 people, but apparently I can't count, and I invited 7. So Bland's has offered to wait a while to come up, so that'll be good. But tonight what we're going to do is we are going to have a conversation about growing your own food. Excuse me. We're going to have a conversation about growing your own food. And I'm just going to give a few minutes for all the guests to come back up on stage. I know I've got one there right now. And the guests that we have are varied, okay? I don't know why this dog is doing this tonight. Can you guys still hear me? Even with him? I know he'll calm down. He hears me talking, so he thinks I'm talking to somebody, I guess. I don't know. Okay, thank you. Charlie's on it tonight. Charlie, I hope you're feeling okay too, by the way. Thank you. We can hear you both. Thanks, Mayfield Ranch. So anyway, our guests are come from a wide variety of backgrounds, wide variety of different acreage, wide variety of different food that they're growing, urban and rural. So we're going to have a conversation. No worries, Daz. Take your time. And we're going to have a conversation about growing your own food. And you're going to hear what everybody's doing. And just thought it would be really helpful, because if you guys have been watching our channel for a while, you know that we are big proponents in grow your own food, no matter how you can, no matter how limited your space, no matter what your budget is. There's always a chance to do something, right? And so during the crazy times that we're having, we also want to have a good time too. So I am going to bring up our first guest, which is Rich at the Old Swedes Farm. And hey, Garden to Table with Heather Lynn. Good for you. Smart girl. Good for you picking up your CSA. Nice. And so I'm going to bring up Rich, and then as the other guests come up, we'll get the conversation going. You ready, Rich? All right. Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just been moving a lot of rock, a lot of stuff today. I am beat. That's why for Daz, I'm having Daz Australian for beer.
I have a funny story about that. Hello, No Parts Garage. Welcome in. Welcome in. I made the mistake one time as a very new YouTuber on an Australian themed live, and made the mistake of saying, you know, Foster's, it's Australian for beer.
They hate it.
It was a big mistake. I had to apologize several times, and I don't think it was taken well.
Yeah, this is Australian beer made in San Antonio, Texas. So it's just a good after work. I haven't had one in a long time. So I also need to just, if I can do one quick thing. My son's watching this from Korea. John, in the military over there, Korea. Thanks for what you're doing. Miss you, kiddo. So he's watching tonight.
Is that John Westerberg?
That is.
John Westerberg, we salute you. We thank you for your service, sir. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. That's an honor. Excuse me. Hello, Blue Pixie, Blue Self-Reliance. And Charlie, I heard that you have to take it easy for a while. I'm glad that you're taking it easy for a while. I'm just going to go check the chat. We have another guest backstage. John said, glad to be here. Miss you all. Aw. Hey, Maple Cook.
He's going to be over there till about Christmas. Not with his wife, not with his son, not with any of us. He's over staring over at the DMZ.
Yeah.
Said, throw a couple of rocks at old Kim Jong-il and say hi for me. So.
Yeah. Hey, Little Ridge Farm. Hey, Simply Jan Homestead. Welcome in. Welcome in. I am going to bring up our next guest, which is Slava from Kitchen Garden Therapy. Are you ready? All righty. And hello, Leanne, Mennonite Farmhouse. Hi, Slava.
Hi, Slava.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Hi, Mrs. Lazy Days Ahead. So yeah, so we invited a bunch of people. Like I said, I can't count. So I was actually, you know what it is? I'm feeling frustrated because I have the paid version of Melon, and I keep thinking I can have 10 people and I can't. And that irritates me that I have to pay more money to have 10 people.
Isn't it 6? 6 is the max right now?
Yeah, but I can get 6 free on StreamYard. Makes me mad. So thanks for being patient with my scattered brain. I've gotten worse as I'm not working, by the way.
Things happen.
So what's that, Slava?
I say things happen to all of us.
Exactly. I was saying earlier before you guys came in that somebody had said something in a chat on Instagram like, "Oh, Lisa's going live in about 30 minutes," and I was like, "I better go get ready." Hey there, Brampton Gardner, Rochelle, welcome in. So while we're waiting for the others, I was wondering if the two of you could like say how many acres you're on and if you're urban or rural and what you're just growing, like you're gardening or you have animals, like that kind of thing, real quick.
Slava, beauty before old age.
And I'm hydrating on water, desperately needed.
Well, I am definitely in urban settings. I live in Chicago. I have very little backyard, but I make it work. I counted, I think I have like around 300 square feet that I can garden on. If you add everything all around the house, all the nooks and crannies everywhere, I have like secret spaces that that I garden in. And I wish I could have animals, but unfortunately, it's not possible, even though I was thinking of getting chickens because some people do have chickens in Chicago. They make it work. It's allowed, far as I know, to have 4 chickens, no rooster.
Right. Noise.
Yeah, maybe in the future I'll do that. I'll see, because I'm watching all of you guys and I'm jealous. I want to have
Great
chickens
manure.
too. Yes. But so far I'm only gardening and trying to grow as much as I can on those 300 square feet that I got.
Well, never say I'm only gardening.
Yeah.
That's number one. Rule number one, never say you're only gardening because sometimes we have to do with what we have. And you are definitely a great example of that because you are maximizing every inch of your space.
Slava, you only have 300 square feet horizontal. You're going vertical though, so you're using more square feet than you really are giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, that's true.
Very true. Hello, Redbird Farm, and no worries, Leanne Mennonite Farmhouse. Whenever you're done, feed the farmer. That's awesome. And yeah, it is a true thing. You want to hear something ironic? The town that we live right outside of town. I mean, I'm a couple miles from town and I'm real close. But inside town limits, you can't have chickens.
Wow.
Here.
How is that?
And
they fought it.
Was crazy.
They fought it when the whole big cinnamon vanilla thing happened. They fought it again. And everybody said, we don't want roosters. We just want chickens. Even if you tell us we'll keep the chickens in the run, that's fine. Would not allow it. And yet, Rapid City, you can have chickens, which is very urban.
New representation in your city council there. Sounds like you could run now that you're not working. Maybe there's a government position for you.
Yes.
I don't know.
The chicken you're on the chicken platform.
I tend to cause issues because I like to speak up. I did years of it. I'm kind of over it right now. As a social worker, you do a lot of advocating and a lot of speaking up. So, and advocating for your clients. So, but I will say that it blows my mind, but this is why we don't live in town. You know what I mean? Not that we planned on having chickens before we bought the house, but we've always bought houses right outside city limits. So we've had more freedom to do whatever we wanted to do. But it just blows my mind. I mean, I could see it being a nuisance to people. I totally can, but it's just ridiculous.
But sometimes those suburbs next to the city can be also hard with policies. Like, I know we were thinking of moving outside of Chicago for, so we can have more land, more freedom, as you said. But after doing some research, I realized that it's even more stricter in those suburbs than it is in Chicago. There is one suburb next to us that it was illegal to have a greenhouse. People had to fight with the city to have a greenhouse. And I'm not talking about anything fancy, just a simple plastic greenhouse. It's crazy, and a lot of suburbs do not allow chickens, but city of Chicago does. So
Yeah.
sometimes you never know which direction to go.
So true, so true. And I think some of it has to do with like if there's HOAs, if there's communities and stuff like that. Here what they like in North Carolina at the time was, I think, one of the states that had the largest, what's the best way to say it? The largest percentage of land that was tied up in an HOA. And we ended up buying a house in a quote unquote defunct HOA because there was no dues. It was defunct. Nobody was on the board. It was formed and it kind of dissolved, but was still there in the background. Didn't bother us. I could have had a cow there if I wanted to. Nobody would have said anything, even though it was against what the technical thing said. Here they call them, it's not HOA, it's covenants. And of course I'm in South Dakota, so it's the wild, wild west. In the grocery store.
Yeah.
No less, right? But so the funny thing is like we have free range cows, we, all that kind of stuff. So free range pigs too, apparently.
Yeah, you're guilty.
Totally guilty. So yeah, absolutely. I see there's some other guests in the chat. Whenever you're ready, you're welcome to come up. If you're not ready, I totally understand, but we do have room, so feel free to come up. Excuse me, I did make room. Bland's Promised Land Ranch is going to be coming up later. Yeah, Charlie said HOA should be unconstitutional in his opinion. Yes. Hey, Skinner Farms. Oh, so Daz is coming up. So I'm going to pull Daz up when he tells me he's ready, and then I want to hear from you, Rich. Okay, he said 1 minute. So, okay. Rich, why don't you tell us about your acreage and stuff?
Well, we, I've always wanted to have some land and all, and be able to. I've gardened forever, so we were lucky enough to find a nice home. I'm a ham radio operator, so I wanted something up on a hill. I want to get my antennas up high. Found the perfect spot on the highest spot for about 6 miles, and we've got about 3.5 acres. Nice flat land, about an acre or so of woods, pretty overgrown woods that we're thinning out. My garden right now, we started clearing an area. We've been here about 3 years. This is our 3rd summer. I've got one garden that's all fenced in, kind of chicken protection. That's 35 by about 150. So bigger than, but per square foot, I wonder if Slava probably puts more produce on the table than I do. I've got another area that's not as fenced in. It's fenced on one side, and then I've got corn on the other side. That's about 30 or 40 by 100. I don't pack things in like I could. I really like squash, pumpkins, watermelon, those kind of things. And I've got room to do that now. So a good chunk of mine is a lot of vining crops. I've done really well. What? You holding me up, or are you?
No, I was talking to the person in the green room.
Okay. We've got a few things going. We do a little limited CSA. We've had some other people that have wanted to buy certain things from us, and they'll kind of pre-order in the spring. They'll say, "Hey, Rich, for an old folks home, we want 40 pumpkins at the end of the year. Can you grow them?" Yep, I got room. Or a school group does stuff with mini pumpkins, so those little Jack B. Littles. So I grow about 100 for them, and I've got the space. So it's beautiful for what I want. This place is just absolute heaven for me and Holly.
I really saw that when you did your recent garden video. Hey, Carla, living a rogue life. Somebody just told me to tell my turkeys to go to bed. Redbird Farm.
Yeah, I can. We're out in the garden, and I can see. Although the corn has sprouted now around us on 3 sides, we've got corn now. And by the 4th of July, I'll have an 8-foot privacy wall all the way around my house or around our yard, and I won't be able to see very far. And then in October, September, whenever the gentleman pulls in the crops, all of a sudden you can see for miles. And right now, if you see my videos, you can see for miles.
It's gorgeous.
It is. I love
gorgeous.
it. Absolutely in heaven out here.
I'm going to bring up our guest backstage. Daz, you ready? Okay. Hi, Daz.
Oh, g'day.
G'day.
Hi.
You can all hear me.
Yes.
All right, cool. G'day, Rich. G'day, Slava. Lisa. G'day, chat.
Hi.
And I have the Cow Emporium backstage, but I can't see them. So I just want to know if you guys are ready to come up. Annette and Glenn.
G'day, everybody.
Good
Sorry,
day.
I was
Good day.
very disorganized. It was bad. I had myself set up for tomorrow for something I'm doing tomorrow, and it all clashed with going online with you just now. So I had to close everything and shut everything and reconnect everything. And so if I can get a collective in chat, I'd feel better. It'd make me feel real good.
Oh,
Thanks, everybody. So
but
nice of you.
It's
you
early in the
saved
morning.
me. You saved me because you sent a message in a chat that said Lisa's going live in about 30 minutes, and I went,
Yes.
"Oh no!"
Yes. So,
All right,
You're
let me
welcome.
just see what's going on here for a minute. I'm trying to go back. Bear with us while we get it started. Okay, so hey, living a rogue life. Yeah, Annette and Glenn, I'm going to put you on the screen for a minute, but I don't see you. But let me put you on screen now. So I don't see you, but I have you up on screen and you're live, just so you know.
It is dark there.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm just going to. So your camera looks on, but we don't see you.
Or hear anything.
Or hear anything. Do you want to log out and try logging back in? I'm going to take you off screen and give you an opportunity to log out and log back in and see how that works. Oh, there they go. And we'll have them back up. I wonder if you're using a computer if the cam is not on. Because I know you've come up before and had no problem with your phone, I think. And yes, the chirping is the 2 turkeys in the background. We had 19 eggs in the incubator. They were a little older than they should be. But we had to wait until the incubator hatched the last time to put them in. And someone encouraged me, just put them in, see what happens. We had one hatch that just was not successful. It had pipped and then didn't make it. So we ended up with 2 basically right now. And we have 2 more in there, but one of them is Lisa Left Eye Lopez, because she's got one eye. The other one is closed. She has an eyeball, but her eye is closed. It won't open, but it's not swollen. But she's able to care for herself. So we're going to leave her be. Because as long as she can eat and drink and take care of herself, there's no reason why she can't live a life with one eye. And then I have another one that's with her. And the other Fab 5 went out today, so that was exciting. They got out there and they were flying all over the place. They're huge. So that's what the chirping sounds are on the back. And Maple Cook is asking about you coming from the future, Daz.
Yep.
Yes, I was just answering both. I did hear you earlier, Rich. Rich mentioned about the time here, and yeah, Maple Cook was asking. So I was just explaining that it was in chat to Maple Cook that it's almost midday here. I was just double checking. Yeah, almost midday Saturday here.
Night, Rochelle. No worries. Get some rest, my friend. So if I missed anyone in the chat, I apologize. We want to have a good conversation about this, and I want to include you guys. But so Daz, why don't you just tell us, I don't know if you heard the earlier part where we were saying just like how many acres you're on and in general what you're growing.
Yeah, well, I guess the biggest thing for me to point out, I think, would be that we're heading into winter next week. So for a lot of people that don't know, Australia is, well, the Southern Hemisphere is the opposite to the Northern Hemisphere. So, if anyone that doesn't know, while you're shoveling snow at Christmas, we're all out here sweating and cursing and wishing we could ever have a white Christmas just once, which will never happen. So for me, being going into winter next week, it's all mainly brassicas like broccoli, collie, Brussels sprouts. There's cabbage out there. Onions and garlic are in. And then there's all year things like carrots, lettuce. Actually, what I'm doing, which I haven't done before, is I just happen to have one here ready. I'm very excited. I have celery.
Ooh.
I'm really, really bad at growing celery, like really bad. I've never grown celery from seed to harvest ever. It's always failed. So at the moment, I've got a grow mat and a grow light with about 50 of those guys. And the plan is to just have a massive harvest, and then I'm going to dehydrate and preserve the gosh darn it out of them, and I'll have a very long-term supply of celery. In regards to land and everything, I quite often get people say that I'm on a farm or a homestead of size, because in my videos you can see the forest and everything behind me. But I'm only ever on a half acre. And yeah, I'm always telling people that it's, I'm not trying to hide it. I don't have believe me, I'm envious of people with rolling fields and stuff like that, but I'm not ashamed to be on a smaller property. And I'm really big on trying to tell people, look, even people with balconies and in apartments and stuff, container grow, like get container growing. And so in summary, it's almost winter here. I've got the usual winter crops. There's probably a few things I've missed. And I'm on about a half acre, but I've managed to fit, I've got about 50 odd fruit trees and grapevines and berry bushes, and I've got 3 more bare-rooted trees coming when the season starts. I've got, I've got a dozen olive trees out in the front yard lining the driveway. So look, I'm always saying, make use of what you've got. You don't have to be restricted, and don't feel like I'm not a homesteader, I'm not a farmer, I can't grow anything, because that's not right. And don't stick labels on things either. I mean, just get out there and... Sorry, my chicken just went crazy.
I was going to say, do you have other animals other than chickens, Daz?
No, we're not allowed to. So by law, we're restricted to 6 chickens because of the proximity of the neighbours, which is a shame, because we live outside a small country town, and this is very much a farming community. It's just something, I think every neighbour I've got, maybe not one, has chickens of their own and stuff like that. And it's a very accepted thing out here. But we're governed by, laws that are set statewide, and we're a part of that, unfortunately. So, yeah, other than, like a caged native parrot and stuff like that, we can't have, like, I would love kuni pigs. I'd love to have a house pig or something, and I'd love to have goats, and, I watch, say, Blue Collar Homestead with their goats, or I'll watch Lisa with the kuni pigs, and I'll watch Rich with his chickens, and lots of chickens, and yeah, but look, it is what it is, and you make do with what you've got, and like I said, just you don't need to have labels and stuff like that. You just do what you can, and enjoy.
And your chickens do free range though, because you were joking about them leaving nitrogen bombs underneath your trees.
Yeah. So that's one thing I've always done is that I've got the backyard divided down the middle, and we had 2 dogs initially, so the dogs would share one side with some chickens, and then the other side would be kept for the kids and some chickens. So even though the kids had to dodge nitrogen bombs, they didn't have to dodge dog bombs on the other side of the yard. So, yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but hey, Colleen, welcome in. The Cow Emporium, I see you guys back, but the screen is dark. I don't see you. I'm welcome to put you up there and try to figure out what's going on here. I have no problem with it. If you guys want to just type in the chat and let me know what you want to do. And then Sandy at Suburban Homesteader wants to know if you can have rabbits, Daz.
Oh, actually, we have rabbits. Sorry. We only have 2 rabbits. But yeah, my eldest and his partner, they have 2 rabbits. And I think we're restricted on the number we can have. But I tell you what, rabbit poop is the most awesome fertilizer ever.
I know I need some, but I don't want rabbits.
Oh, man, I tell you what, they looked at me funny. As soon as they said they're getting rabbits, I was like, yes, please.
We're thinking about it.
Hey, Country Home. Hey there, our new land. And I just want to look in the chat to see if I missed anything from the Cow Emporium. I can see. Oh, I lost them again.
No. But rabbits are a tricky one here in Australia because, I don't know the exact rules. I used to, but rabbits are actually banned in some states in Australia, and because they're massive plague proportions here, they're a big, big problem. And because of baiting and stuff like that goes on by the government and the forestry people and stuff, I'm pretty sure these 2 bunnies had to be injected. I don't know why I'm pointing to my shoulder because they probably didn't get it there. But anyway, the bunnies had to actually be taken to a vet, and they had to be injected. And I don't know whether that's to protect them from the diseases that are out there or vice versa. But but basically, there is restrictions in Australia on keeping rabbits, and ours had to be vaccinated for some reason.
Well, a lot of people, they hear us talk about our animals, and our I can see Annette now in the background. Hey, Tina Ladybug. When she's ready, we will bring them up. But yay, I'm excited we can see them. But I wanted to tell you what we have on the farm. I'm going to bring them up first. And Sandy from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona is here. Sandy, do you mind if I say what's happening tomorrow, or would you prefer me to wait? All right, Annette and Glenn, are you guys ready? Okay, I'm going to bring them up. Hello.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
Hi. It's not really dark here.
Hi, Steve
No, it's
Carlson.
not really that dark here.
It's good you found the light switch.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daz.
Welcome in. And Annette, thank you for sending me those cool feeders because I'm going to show them to Ryan. I'm assuming that they were Glenn's master creations.
Yeah. Yeah. I took pictures of the feeders and the tractors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to try them.
Yay.
So before we get going, I do want to say that tomorrow I am going to have the pleasure of meeting Sandy at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
Ooh.
And
That's cool.
yes, so cool. So we're going to be doing some swapping stuff, some good stuff. And there may be a live. So if anybody's around, I know it's a Saturday morning, but if there is a live, I'm assuming it'll be on Sandy's channel. If not, it will be a video, but we'll figure it out. So stay tuned. But it's 10 o'clock tomorrow is when I'm meeting her, and maybe sometime around there. But I am super excited because there are no YouTubers near me. And to meet Sandy, who has just been, I feel like Sandy's just such a great person. And, like all of our friends. And it's just so cool because I can't meet all of you. So very excited to meet her. Can't wait. Can't wait and share some good stuff we've got going on. So what I wanted to tell you guys is right now you talk about size, Daz. We have 2 acres. Right now we have 12 pheasants, 31 meat birds now, I think. 31 because we did lose one. 31 meat birds. 4 kuni pigs, 2 of which we hope are pregnant. 16 chickens. 7 turkeys. That's the little ones. 5 of the new ones for meat. 2 little ones in the brooder, and then the 4 breeding hens. So, and then we have the gardens and stuff. So, and we're hatching behind me. So don't tell me you can't grow. Like, I understand if there's animal limitations, but 2 acres, 300 square feet, whatever you have, we can grow. You know what I mean? So important.
Yeah, well, so I was just going to say, Slava briefly touched on animals earlier, but I want to say, where are you going to fit them? Your garden is amazing. You have so much going on there. Like, I look at everyone else and I said about animals and stuff like that, but don't worry, I'll look at your channel and I'm thinking, wow, what is this lady doing and where does it all fit and how did you do it? So, yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. For
Well,
sure.
sometimes I feel like because I have such a small space, I have more, I'm planning more and I'm trying to fit more. My parents, they have much more land, so they kind of relax. They don't have to like constantly plan and do three harvests a year. They can just do all the planting all at once and have all the harvest all at once. And because I have a small space, I want to use the same garden bed 3 times a year.
Yeah. And Maple Cook, instead of calling Thunderjack Meat Bird, you should call him a meat beast, because that's what I call him. And then I don't know if you heard it earlier, because I know you were dealing with technical stuff, but Ryan wanted to put the Fabulous 5 turkeys in with the meat birds. And I told him,
No.
we did last year, but they grew up together.
Yeah.
But I said to him, no. And then as I watched Jabba the Hutt walk over to the fence, I said, oh, I'm so glad you little guys, I made you a separate pen.
Yeah.
So
for a while anyway.
My timing was just off.
Yeah.
Because they needed to get out of the brooder. Their heads were just hitting the wire on the top of the brooder. And I said, I'm going to put them outside. So I sectioned off with a cattle panel.
Yeah.
And put some chicken wire, and I sectioned off a piece of the meat bird pen for them. And it's a little more square footage than the brooder, but they're outside and they can fly up and down if they want. I feel it's a lot less confined. And then when the meat birds are gone, they'll have full reign of it, So you guys, now, I don't think a lot of people have met your husband. I mean, except on your channel.
He's real. This is Glenn.
Oh, is that your husband? No.
Oops.
He's out repairing something.
Hello.
Yeah, he's well, I don't know, pretty shy. Probably a little bit more shy than me even. So
You'd never know it in the videos. Glenn, you are a master.
Well, she makes me look better than I am. That's her job.
But you shoot videos.
Yeah, he does.
I
You
take
do
videos
good.
a little bit, yeah. She just sends me out with the camera and says, take some pictures of what you're doing today and I'll fix it up. I'm like, okay. So there you go.
I told her that, and forgive me, I don't know the name of the machine, but it was when you were seeding the fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Annette, I said, at the size of that machine, I said, it wouldn't even fit on my 2 acres.
No, it literally wouldn't.
Yeah, we had to make some gates bigger just to get it off the road. We have a narrow road and getting onto the property is really tough with that big equipment because there's
I bet.
steep ditches on both sides and yeah.
I bet.
What
So,
about going? Oh, sorry, Lisa.
no, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say while they were here, what about going the other direction with there's a recent video where Glenn and Annette were sowing in their garden, and they had like homemade custom little tools that I assume Glenn had made and stuff like that. Yeah, and I was like, thanks, I'm going to steal those ideas. Like, so yeah, you're talking about something of such a big scale, but you've also got these really handy little things that that are like custom made that you use in there at home as well.
I don't think you need, like, for gardening, you'd be surprised what you can get away with size, like smaller stuff. Like you don't need a lot of really big stuff to grow a lot of food. It's just figuring out how to do it, and the smaller spaces for growing your own food, that works good, and we're learning that. We're kind of downsized. We used to have a small tractor we used for a lot of stuff in the garden, and we're going more and more back towards just using a pitchfork and hardly using the rototillers. So I mean, you can downsize and still get a lot done, but the stuff that the grain end of it, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Well, you got to feed your animals too, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of feed to make everything go round.
Cows eat a lot of food.
And growing grain by hand is a very miserable process. It's very nice to have it mechanized because the thrashing and the cutting and everything, it's better if there's some kind of machine to do it rather than trying to do it by hand. I mean, you can, but you quickly realize why you want a machine to help you out with it a little bit anyway.
I could not agree more. I don't know. Some of my favorite videos are just looking at your property, but I have to tell you, I love watching you pull calves. I know you're going to think I'm weird, but well, I'm familiar with it in the sense that I've not had to do it, but my father worked on a dairy farm. I've heard all the stories and stuff like that. So when I see the chains come out, like I know what's going on. I could never do it. But I sit there and I watch it and I'm like, ooh, Glenn's getting the chains out. And it's like, and it's beautiful. I know, call me a weirdo, but I just think it's beautiful because you always have such respect for your animals. And I adore that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's not something a lot of people know much about, and it's just been something we've been doing forever. So, yeah.
It's something that I don't want to say I'm struggling with, but I'm just trying to think of the right way to say it. With the pigs being pregnant, it's sort of like when women get pregnant and they tell you all the horrible stories about childbirth. Well, now that I have 2 pigs that have never given birth, I think I've heard 5 or 6 stories now of nightmare pig births where people have had to go in and assist. And I'm kind of I'm very much a believer in nature does what nature needs to do.
You'll do fine if you need to step in, Lisa.
But the other side of me tells me that sometimes the stepping in is too much. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think there's probably YouTube videos about it or research that you can get from your local municipality, right?
Yeah.
and or talk to, like, you've got lots of friends who have pigs, and I know your vet's a long ways away, so it would be something that I would do a lot of research on, what to look for, and presentation problems, like when they start, I don't know, what do you call it when pigs have babies?
When they farrow.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure you'll do all the research on that, but I think you'll be fine.
I am, but like one of the things Ryan told me to do, hey, Pure Pondering, one of the things that Ryan had told me to do was reach out to the breeder. He said, reach out to the breeder, because he goes, she's having tons of litters all the time. One of the things I said to her was, I said, so, hey, I told her, I said, I don't have a vet who's going to come out and help me. I'm on my own. This is the first aid kit that I've put together. This is the birthing kit I've put together. She gave me a few other suggestions, like I have to give the piglets iron in 24 hours, a shot of iron. So I'm going to get that together. I got chlorhexidine. It's a long, long list, gloves and all that stuff, right? So we've got all the stuff we need the best we can, because nobody treats pigs here. That's the horrible part. So what it's going to come down to is, and I'm just being real, because they're my breeders and I know they're my breeders, but I've also raised them since they're babies, and Eleanor is an investment. She's my registered pig too. But if it comes down to it, you might have a situation where it might not turn out good, is what I'm trying to say. And that, you can only do so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Really, I think, for one, Annette, I can point the right way, was absolutely spot on, and good on you, Annette.
Oh,
and Lisa, not that I know, I agree with you. Like, thank you, that was awesome. And Lisa, you sound so prepared, and as Annette said, you've got resources like YouTube to research and everything. But just listening to you talk now about having kits and stuff like that, you're hardly going into it blind. So I think, as you said, nature takes its course, and you've obviously already started to consider these things, and you can only do what you can do. And I think you're most of the way there already by the sounds of it. So
yeah,
good luck.
I guess it's like, for me, it's that fine line of, sometimes I see a lot of videos of people stepping in immediately when it's not necessary, versus a true emergency. Maybe I wasn't clear, because sometimes I can't articulate it, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Most
bring
of the
Leanne up
time.
while we're talking. Hey, Leanne.
Hi.
Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
Most of the time, if you can just kind of leave things alone to let them run their course, that's the best course of action. And it'll be fine. If you get in there, the more you get in there and start messing with stuff, the more things can go wrong. So, I mean, there is sometimes a point where you have to intervene, and that's what you got to do. But it's not the preferred thing. You just want to get out of there and leave them alone and let them be their mother. And yeah, it's that's what I found with the cows. And I mean, we do quite a bit of interventions, but they're necessary when we do them, and we try not to.
And I guess that was the point that I was trying to convey, is just that,
Sure.
I'm a firm believer in that. I'll go out and I'll check on her, I'll keep an eye on her. But, I joke about sleeping in the barn. I don't need to. We will have
set
her.
up the camera in there.
Exactly. And we're going to have, we're going to have the farrowing rails, and, we'll have everything ready. But, I just wanted to bring that point up, because I know sometimes, and I'm sure all of you have seen videos on YouTube that are not exactly accurate, or they are helping somebody or helping an animal give birth prematurely, when just let the animal do what they need to do, Hey, Life with Linda and Chuck. So Leanne has joined us. So I was wondering if Annette and Glenn could, I had the other folks on the panel say, like, about how many acres they have and what they're doing to grow their own food. Would you guys like to share with us?
About our garden?
About the garden. Our garden that we're growing our food on is about 70 feet by 100 feet, and we've got a new potato bed that we started that we have a video on how it didn't work out. So we've switched our gardening system over to kind of a market gardening system with 30-inch beds rather than the traditional row system. And being that we're in the midst of a drought and our water is very limited, we're hoping that this will be a lot more efficient watering and everything else. So, yeah, that's what we're doing.
We've already had our first crop failures and pests already.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the onions look good.
Yeah.
You gotta plan for a certain amount of failure, otherwise we're doing the wrong thing.
Exactly. And they are up in Canada. And I know you say it on your channel, but anything smaller than that, close to your house, that's up to you to say. You know what I mean? What part of Canada you're in?
Oh, as far as our area, we're in southern Alberta, so we're probably an hour and a half to 2 hours maybe from the Montana border, and so we're pretty close, yeah, to the U.S. border.
Gotcha.
We are approximately an hour and a half from our end of the Rocky Mountains. So that's why they're hanging out in the background there. They're so beautiful. Yeah. But then we got prairie to the east, like Rich's place. It's just endless views. So, yeah. So that's where we are. And, we've been here for a long time. So.
So you also have the cattle, though. And so do you butcher any of your cattle? Or do you just sell them?
We sell most of them. Occasionally we have butchered our own. We usually get somebody else to do it because we're not set up very well to hang them. And if the meat isn't hung properly, we found that it's not very good unless you're just making hamburgers. So we generally get somebody that has a controlled place that can do it. We've tried doing it in the fall, but you can't.
You can't even guarantee that your temperature is going to be, whatever. So it's micromanaging the heat in the shed where we could hang them. It's either, if it's too hot, then you're really in trouble. But, if it's too cold, you can always warm up the shed a little bit. But it's just really hit and miss. It's not like a wild animal that doesn't need to hang, because you really do need to let beef sort of chill for, a little while before it's nice to eat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ryan's talked about building a walk-in cooler.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
For doing the pigs. Of course, trying to figure out how to do that. But that, that's the one thing that we do need at this point in time. So I'm going to move over to Leanne real quick, just to allow Leanne to share. How are you growing your food? And you're rural also.
Yes, we have hollows, and we got the cat rolling through, of course. Woo. Okay, we have a 32 square foot garden, which is 80 by 40. Then we have 5 tractor tires that I put strawberries in. Then I have blackberry canes at the barn, and we have a grove of antique pear trees that are along our driveway. And then we have dairy cows that we partake of those when we need to butcher something. Then we obviously drink some of the milk too, besides selling it. And I think that's about it.
Awesome. So you can see on the panel, we've got a large variety of folks, right? Whether it's urban or rural or in another country, right? And so everybody's growing their food. And Slava, I'm going to start with you. What made you decide to start growing your food? And what steps would you suggest to somebody who's in a similar limited space as yourself?
Well, I live in urban settings now, but I've not always have lived here. I actually grew up in a country, on the countryside, in a rural area, not in the United States. I grew up in Ukraine, and then I moved here 10 years ago. So I'm used to having a lot of land and growing things on a big scale. But because I moved here and I moved to an urban area, I have to work with what I have. And it took me a few years to adjust to my new circumstances. But I would suggest to people, no matter where you live, just do something, start with something. And don't be afraid to experiment. If you fail, you fail. We all fail. We all have things that don't work for us. Like in the first year or two, starting to grow here, I didn't even know how things are called. Like, because as a new immigrant, I didn't know English, and I was going to stores and I was like learning what is tomato, what is cucumber. So it took me a while to get used to it. So if you're here already, like if you know English, you're already ahead of me when I just started. So don't be afraid of experimenting and just try new things. You never know what will be good for you. Like I didn't know what grows good here, but after some trial and error, I figured out things that work better than what I used to be before, and things that I just can't grow because of the climate. So experimenting is the key.
I think that's why you and I get along. I'm always doing something crazy over here. But yeah, I mean, and do something. That's what our new land said. Sage advice. Why don't more people do that? And it's so true, right? Because sometimes it's easy, for us to just kind of sit back and say, oh, it's too hard, or oh, I've never been able to grow. Like for us, we've never been able to grow cucumbers. I think we got one cucumber. Country Mama is still traumatized from all the cucumbers she had last year. But I think I got one this big and the chickens ate it. But if you don't experiment, you don't know. If you don't try, you don't know. I always tell people I don't like the outside gardening. It's not my fave. It's just not. If I had raised beds, I'd probably be all thrilled. But I'm just not into it. But Ryan is kind of feeling like, oh, I'm so done with growing here in South Dakota. So I've been out there doing stuff. And of course, I'm home. I should be. But I like the greenhouse. I like the indoor growing. And I like the animals much better. Hey, Blands. So I think it's just get out there and do something, and that's the exciting part. How about for you, Rich?
I did like what Slava said. I had a suburban garden, so the 30 by 40 foot garden in the back, and hit that thumbs up. Leanne's right. Experiment, try things. I was so packed in there. That's where I'm blessed with space right now, and my love of vining crops and all that. If something doesn't work, the only thing I'd add to that is make notes. I plan. I've got a garden journal. We draw out the garden, and I've already, modified that plan. You're going to see some changes to what I planned in January. But if it doesn't work, make notes so you don't do the same mistake or put the same things in the same place or whatever next year. Doing something year after year, there's your insanity right there. Just try things, have fun with it. Right now we're not gardening to survive. We're doing some things like that are a little challenge and all that, but get out and have fun with it. Try new things. That's the fun. You might find a new fruit or vegetable you'll just love. But make notes. Make notes. That's huge.
Absolutely. And I see that Carla at Living a Rogue Life said she finally grew some onions and it worked. I saw a video on onions that was amazing. April at Britton Farms Homestead. I think it was the first video that for some reason my brain clicked around. She talked about everything related to onions, explained the difference between, like, I know what seeds are, but seeds, sets, starts, all that stuff, time of the year. She just talked about all these things that I'm probably doing wrong, which is why I don't have onions, because I thought if I threw them in the ground, I'd have them. But you guys should check that out. It's a really good video. How about for you, Daz?
What was the question? Sorry, about why?
What made you get started, and what advice would you give somebody?
Cool. I guess two reasons I got started. One was because I was a qualified chef for so many years. So back when I was working as a chef, most of that time I was living in a townhouse. So I pretty much grew herbs and things in pots. I couldn't grow in the courtyard, and back then I wasn't really thinking about container gardening and stuff like I do now. Like now to think of it, my courtyard could have been absolutely full of raised beds and containers and stuff. But no, number one, I guess, is because my training as a chef and I always cook. And then number two would be obviously now that I have a family and not just things that are going on now, but I've always been in the mindset of being prepared and being ready and having things just in case. Being in Australia, we have bushfires and floods and like other places that have their, like there's parts of America that have tornadoes and things like that. I really do believe that, you need to have something just in case, whether it's you hunker down and have to stay where you are or you have to grab stuff and go. So I started growing so I could dehydrate and can and store. And so I guess they're my two reasons. I guess one, because of my training, and two, because of feeding the family. And there's nothing better than, like yesterday, I went out into the orchard and grabbed these pink lady apples that are so big and got a bunch of other stuff and made a massive smoothie in the blender, and the kids were lined up, and it was really cool because it was cool to see the kids lining up for, fresh fruit rather than saying, where's the chocolate, where's the candy, whatever. And what surprised me was not one of them said, can I put ice cream in it or anything like that. That was like, just, can you pour it and give it to me? That was pretty cool. So, and I think the other thing, again, I just wanted to mention, which I have already said, but container growing, make use of where you are, and Slav is the best example of that. And I'll just leave it at that. I've probably ranted a bit too much, but
no, that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Sorry, one last thing. Sorry. Mental health. It's great for mental health. Get out there and get your mind focused on gardening and having that sense of accomplishment, and you can't go wrong. I'm done. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. And so, speaking of which, I want you to do a plug for your stuff
tomorrow.
Okay. So, thanks, Lisa. How do I start? Normally, I don't say spread the word about my live stream and everything, but I really would appreciate it if everyone could get the word out that tomorrow I'm going to do a dedicated live stream to mental health. There's going to be no birthdays. Normally, I do the birthday shout outs and, encouraging people to go to the channels and stuff like that. But tomorrow is going to be 100% welcoming everybody in. Once I've sort of said the hellos, it's going to be straight down to it. And myself and some guests on the panel are just going to talk about mental health, how it's affected us, how we're involved in different ways, looking at it from someone that suffers, looking at it as a carer, maybe discussing different aspects of it. Unfortunately, one of the guests was going to be my oldest son, who I've only mentioned once on a live stream, who is trans, and they were going to speak about being a young person having to deal with mental health and sexuality and all that sort of stuff, and all the kinds of pressures that they've had. Unfortunately, they've been called into work and they can't be on tomorrow. But yeah, look, I don't know. I've never done this sort of thing before. I don't know how it's going to go, and I'm going to try and keep it structured. But I don't know. Just if it's something that may be of benefit to yourself or someone else, please let people know, and we'll go from there. And just hopefully, just make people aware to accept that it is mental illness is a real thing. It's not made up, and I don't know where to start. Just people are not alone. That's probably one thing I'll be pushing, is that I get a lot of people messaging me on emails and Instagram after seeing my
Bad dog.
whatever.
Bad
And
dog.
A lot of people.
Not you, Daz.
No, it's all good.
Gosh, I hope you didn't hear that, did you?
A lot of people have contacted me in private, and I'll never mention names, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of people out there that it touches them or someone they know quite closely. So yeah, I just want to take advantage of having a space where we can sort of bring it up and discuss it and go from there.
Sorry that you had to hear that, but that's Diesel's 2 code words. We found out that works when I say that. I could say stop, quiet, all those things, nothing. I said that one time, and he literally went like this to me. So, do you want to, and if you don't want to say that, that's fine. But hey, look on the bright side. I only said bad dog too. So, but do you want to say who your guest will be, or do you want that to be a surprise?
Oh no, by all means. You may. There's Lisa from yogihollowfarm. You may have seen her channel. I can drop a link if anyone doesn't know. It's Lisa at yogihollowfarm. And Glenda at Grace and Fire. Unfortunately, yeah, my son can't be there. And Lisa, it's okay to mention.
Yep.
And Ryan from Yogi Hollow Farm, which I'm quite excited about because, yeah, it's going to be really great to have Ryan come on and have a chat with us about it too. So, yeah, so it'll be, it's I think 8 p.m. Central USA time.
Mm-hmm.
It's roughly 11 a.m. Australian time for the Aussies watching. And, yeah, let's see how it goes. And, yeah, it'd be really interesting. Glenda from Grace and Fire. I think I may have misspoken with Grace's channel name before, but Grace
so
and
guys,
Fire,
make sure you check that out.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's enough about
Oh,
me.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's enough about me.
No, I wanted to mention it because I think it's really good, and it's really important because it's a subject near and dear to me. Hey, Don's Beer Reviews, welcome in. So how about for you guys, Annette and Glenn? Like, how'd you guys get started, and what kind of advice would you give to people to get going?
I'd say to start small, and to build on that. I think a lot of people, if they have too much land to start with, you see that mistake all the time. They'll get an acreage and then they'll just put the whole thing into something, and then all of a sudden they realize how hard it is to take care of a large area and to do it well. And so, like, starting small and building on that and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I know I'm guilty of that too. I've planted lots of trees and not not kept the grass out of them and watered them as good as I can. And
Well, we had, like, a lot of people have what I call the busy years. So when your kids are younger and you've got all the stuff to do with them, and ideally it's probably the time to plant your trees and, really develop your yard and stuff. But now that we're empty nesters, we literally have the time to take care of this stuff and are just kicking ourselves, because if we knew back then what we know now, we would have set up, the measures to keep the grass out and the drip irrigation and all things to save yourself some time. And, even with the garden, it was just overwhelming. I really wanted to have all of that. And then the weeds would be so tall that I couldn't see the potatoes but we still got a harvest. But I mean, it's biting off more than you can chew can cause a lot of extra stress. But I also agree with Daz and so many others that, I need to garden. Otherwise, I get stuck in my head, and then it's a terrible place in there. Like it's a crazy place in there. So the busier I am in the summer, the happier I am, really. Outside, fresh air, working hard. Yeah.
Especially after the long winters that you have, which you and I can relate to. And, that's the thing. Like, I always say that I'm fine once it goes below zero. I'm not happy. Like when it's below zero and the spigot outside that is supposedly frost-free is frozen, I'm not happy at all. Right. But, New Year's Eve with a shovel breaking the water because the heater, the water heater goes out, that kind of thing. I'd rather be breaking that stock tank water up than I would just going outside when it's 0 degrees. I just can't stand it.
Well,
and you get that brutally below zero.
Yeah. 40 below zero is 40 below zero. It doesn't matter where you live. It's not nice. But it's also a reason to get up, right? The animals are a reason to get up and go outside. The chickens, the cows, the dog, the garden. I mean, it's something to look forward to every day, and it always is changing. So even if you do your garden walk in the morning, you go out there at nighttime, you take your whatever outside to drink while you're walking around the yard, and, just enjoy what's out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Lovely. Absolutely. And that's, the one thing Ryan and I were talking about since I've stopped working is it doesn't matter. It's like even before coffee, and people always say, what, you don't have coffee? I'm like, no, my animals are waiting to eat. So it's like they get fed, they get taken care of, everybody gets checked on, and then I come in and have coffee,
Yeah.
because they need to be taken care of first, because they can't just go in the refrigerator and say, let me see what I can have. They're totally reliant on us.
Glenn, I don't know, I'm kind of piggybacking on everybody, but Glenn made a great point about planning and biting off more than you can chew. I'm on a couple of Facebook places, and it's kind of newbie homesteader kind of thing. And
nice.
3 years ago when we bought the farm, we were charged up. Thank God it was November when we bought, and there was a long winter in between. We got on it. I'm like, we're going to put pigs in the corner. We're going to have the garden over here. We're going to get chickens. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And thank God we took a chance to just think about it and looked at what's your time management? How much can you handle time-wise? What's your talent? What do we have talent and experience with? And then what can we afford financially? And we put a sticky note of everything we wanted to do or needed on the refrigerator. And it was huge, orchard, pigs, this, that, and the other. And then we put everything over to one side that we needed. We needed a riding lawnmower. Okay, that goes over here. We need a snowblower. What did we need for infrastructure? And then put the cost to it. And then what do we want? And those kind of were in the middle. And then what can we wait on? And the orchard moved over to that side. The pigs moved over to that side. I don't know. I'm a big planner, but I think you need to. You go in. I see a lot of new homesteaders coming on, and they're fired up, which you need to be. You need to be fired up and really love what you're getting into. But think about like a 5-year plan. The first year, what do you want to do? Because my garden, I wanted to keep deer out. I thought we were going to have deer around here. Well, I need chickens out. Fencing. Well, it's expensive, and stuff like that. Just throwing a garden down sounds simple, but you got to keep stuff out. If you got chickens, you got to keep stuff out so they're not dying. step at a time, 5-year plan kind of thing. I'd big on planning.
You are, because it's funny. I watch your videos. I was going to give you a hard time tonight, but I won't. But I was watching your video, and you were talking about your 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I was going, like, I was getting amped up because I was like, Rich is sitting there going, and I could see it in his head. He's like, we got a lot going on this weekend. We got to get the plants in the ground. I can see you going, Holly, we got stuff to do.
I did that video this morning, and I let Holly sleep in. So let that be known. I was out watching the sunrise, getting the chickens out, and I made a video and let her snooze. So
That's nice. That's nice.
And breathing in cold air.
Yeah.
42 degrees.
Oh, that's crazy.
Lisa, I'll just, sorry to interrupt you, but I'll jump out so Eric and Monica can join in, you guys.
Well, before you do, I do want to say something, and thank you so much for being so kind. Slava is getting close to her 1K milestone. So if one of the moderators, they just put it in there, so it was there. So please go check out her channel.
Subscribe to her. Great channel.
Slava actually told me something a while back when I said to her that she was an amazing gardener. She had made the comment to me that it takes time to learn, or something to that effect. I don't want to quote you, but basically you said to me, like, it wasn't always that way. I learned over time. So I want to point that out because that always resonated with me when you said that to me, because I do admire your gardening skills. And you're right, it starts somewhere and then it grows and it blossoms. And so people may see you now and think, oh, I can't do that, but that's not the case.
Yeah, so true. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for being here, Slava.
Hey, Slava.
Thank you. And sorry, Steve Carlson, I got the wrong name in there. I put Steven instead of Steve. Sorry. Hello, Growing with Hudson. And I think Bland's is going to be coming up. She'll be coming up in just a minute. Leanne.
Yeah.
Tell us, where you got started and, what advice you would give to people to grow their own food.
Well, I guess growing up, my parents had a big garden, and I would have to be forced to help, and traumatized. How many green beans can a kid pick? And but then that taught me hard work pays off. And so then what did I do? I go marry a farmer. What was I thinking? But he has a background where his grandfather was a produce farmer back in Baltimore over 100 years ago. And when he was a tyke, he had his own produce stand, when he was like 10 years old. So I have all this wonderful resources in the palm of my hand marrying him. And so that's why we can grow what we can. And my advice for anybody who's getting started, make sure you write down every little detail of where you got that seed, how much it was, how much it produced, and if it even was worth it to you. Just write it all down, because journaling helps from year to year, because you don't know if you got the right amount of nitrogen on your soil. You don't know how much rain it came down, how much watering you did.
Yep.
Or the bugs that might have came in and zapped you. You need to write that all down of what might have helped you and what might have been your downfall. Like those yellow fuzzy bugs that eat my green beans. They're going down this year.
Watch out. Watch out.
Watch out. Watch out. Well,
we have plenty of green beans in our pantry, but
Well, Carla at Living a Rogue Life said all I ever wanted was to be barefoot pregnant and a farmer's wife. I got none of that, but I'm still hoping.
I got the farmer's right part.
Well, here is Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
Hi.
G'day, Monica.
Hello.
How is everybody?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Look,
great.
Eric,
Great.
I've got I don't have my mic hooked up, but I'm in the room and Eric is literally right over there finishing a mean game of Fortnite with my 22-year-old. Yeah. So now he's like all like in there and I'm like, you can't be yelling. You can't be screaming. See, he's over there with headphones on.
Boys will
Nice
be boys.
attention.
He said he was gonna pop in a few minutes. He's like, I'll come say hi.
No worries, no worry. Everybody's saying Heidi in the chat, but for those of the people who are maybe not familiar with you guys, which would blow my mind, you're in a rural setting.
Mhm.
And how many acres do you have?
So we have 10 acres. We share our property with my in-laws, and they have about an acre and a half that they have that's theirs off to the side that they have a lawnmower on it and, all their stuff. And so we have about 8 acres of grazable land that we use for our animals. And then I have a nice sized garden. I don't know how big it is. It's like that. It's big. It's bigger, but it's not like a real big garden, but it's a good size. I like it. Whoop. He's
We
gone.
lost Rich.
But yeah, I mean, we are kind of in a rural setting, but it's funny because we're in the back of a community where people have anywhere between 5 and 10 acre plots. And we're kind of at the back end of it. So it's really nice because no one really comes back here, which is good. But it's growing up all around us. So it's going to I have a feeling we're going to be pushed out of this area very soon. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The town that we're in is only about, I live about 20 minutes from Rockwall, which is a little tiny square county that is right east. Hey, there's Rich. Rockwall County is the smallest county in the state of Texas, but it is the fastest growing county in the entire state of Texas.
Wow.
And this town is just booming. It is exploding with people, and those people are trickling out into the area where I live, which is only about 20 minutes east of that county. And so they're just kind of coming. As a matter of fact, only about I live my life by like blocks and streets, like how many blocks away somebody is. That's what happens when you grow up in the suburbs, right? And you grow up near the city. Just about 5 blocks down, 5 streets over from where I am, they are putting in a huge community. Basically, I think it's like 300 and some homes, and they're all going to be smashed in there with about an eighth of an acre and this giant Texas-sized house on an eighth of an acre. And so, yeah, I can tell they've already redone the street. So they're getting ready. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be great. So yeah, Eric's like, okay, we need to get a 5-year plan on this one. So
Time
yeah,
for a vegetable stand, and you could mop up.
hey, maybe, but yeah, it's definitely urbanization for sure. It is.
Yep.
It is coming this way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I can tell you, I'm going to be embarrassed for a minute because I'm not working at a job where I knew I would have off Monday. And I forgot it was Memorial Day weekend. Well, you know how I found out? I went into town. It's like the RVs are lined up. The gas stations are packed. And I said to Ryan, I was like, oh, I forgot that I should have went into town yesterday because we won't be going back until November. I was like, oh, in the wintertime, I literally stand in downtown and I just look and there's no cars, there's nobody. And I'm like, it's December. This is great. And then I go back and it's April and I'm like, oh, they're here.
I don't ever go into town on a weekend anyway because it's like insane. And my mother-in-law drove over today and she came next door. She's like, can I borrow that cooler? We used the cooler for last weekend for a little party we had. And she's like, I need the cooler back. I'm going into town. And I was like, oh, bless you. Because there's no way I would go into Rockwall today, the Friday before a holiday, of a holiday weekend. And then she says on top of it, I'm going to Costco. Do you need anything? I was like, no, I'll be praying for you to get out of there alive because that's going to be a mess. Because she was leaving at 4:00. I'm like, nope, no thanks. It's way too people-y for me.
Yeah.
I'll stay right here.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys, what are some of the I'm trying to think about some of the things like that come up for people that make it hard to grow their own food, right? So I'm sure finances, limitations on space. Maybe you're living in a condo and you only have a balcony, or maybe you don't have a balcony. All that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to think, like, what are some of the barriers or challenges people may come up against that we could maybe tell somebody about to help or give them some creative ideas. And I'm just going to open it up to all you guys. And I see in the chat they're talking about weather, quality, soil. So Daz?
I just wanted to, first thing that came to my mind immediately was people that don't even have a balcony. You can put a pot plant in a window and maybe something like a small cherry tomato or some herbs, and just do that. Just start there at least. Take advantage of that sunlight coming through the window and start from there.
We're fortunate that a lot of communities around us have community gardens in them. So if somebody is really interested, they can get in and get a pot on one of those and have a space to start and to work with, even if they don't have like a balcony or whatever. And Annette and I, that's if the gate's unlocked and we got time and we're not doing anything, that's what we do kind of as a date. We'll go to town and we'll go through the community garden to see how the peas are doing and just, look around and see what everybody's doing. And it's a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon. So
I can't imagine you two having that sort of time or wanting to spend your free time around things like that.
Yeah. And yes, the peeps are singing behind me. And part of it, I think, is because Lisa Left Eye Lopez, as I like to name her, is calling for the other one who's standing right next to her by her bad eye. So there's a lot of peeping going on, and Rich has taught me what to look for, and I go running over and I look, and the other one is standing right next to her, but by the bad eye. So
it's the other one that's chirping. Mom, she keeps winking at me. Mom, she keeps winking at me. There's no reason to not garden or do something. Something that Monica and Eric said in a video, I don't know, a month ago maybe, about partnering. It just really hit me because we're doing some of that. There is the community garden. You can garden over at someone's house. You can share space. We're going over to, we've never done meat chickens before. We're going over to Matt and Sarah's tomorrow, and we bought in with them on a bunch of meat chickens. So,
wow.
Who's Matt and Sarah?
Matt and Sarah. I don't know if you know their channel. If you haven't checked out Matt and Sarah, check out their channel. They live about 10 miles from us. So
that's what their channel name is, Matt and Sarah?
Matt and Sarah. Yep.
Never heard of them.
Matt and Sarah, look them up.
They're in
like
the
10 miles from us.
February.
The what?
They're in the $50 February challenge thing, right?
So, yep. So that's
Lisa.
part of my strategy, maybe. But you know what? I know nothing. You cannot know anything about something and partner with someone and do it. So
that is great, Rich. Good on you.
Yeah, that's
it'll
a
be
great.
fun. Holly's like,
that's awesome.
I'm not killing anything. I'm gonna cry, and Sarah's like, I cried last year. Don't worry about it. So.
You want to know something? Those decisions are usually left up to me because it's going to affect me the deepest, right? When we had the chickens that were attacked, we had to dispatch 2 of them because their injuries were so severe and they were suffering. And everybody says, "Oh, I'm going to cry." Well, it's okay to cry. They're animals, and we care about them. But I have to say that I felt better about the decision because Ryan looked at me and I said, yes, they're suffering. I'm looking at them. And the reality of it is we had to do something, and it was our responsibility to put them out of their misery. And I cried because a life was lost unnecessarily, but at the same time, I felt peace that we did what was best for them. So maybe that can help Holly.
Yeah. She's going to be, there's a lot of roles tomorrow. So she'll be doing something that's not involving a knife. So
I'm getting ready to
Yeah.
talk.
What?
Sorry. I was yelling at Eric for a second. I hit mute by accident.
That's right. I yelled bad dog earlier.
Bad dog. Bad
I
dog.
was trying to tell Eric, I was getting ready to talk. I'm like, shh, 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 quiet. No, I wanted
Bad
to say,
Eric.
I know. Bad Eric. Bad Eric. Oh, he's over there being goofy now. No, I wanted to say, you were talking about what would maybe keep people from gardening. Wow, why are they sideways on the wall? They're climbing. Oh, okay.
Their phone slipped on the tripod, I bet.
On the table.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, no, it's funny you should ask that because there is a girl, she's a young woman. She's got to be maybe 24, 25. And she's a single mom who lives with her parents. And she said today on Facebook, and I was just kind of perusing through, and she said, okay, guys, I think I want to start a vegetable garden inside. I want to start gardening indoors. And within 2 minutes of her little statement, she said she had several people come on there and they were like, oh, well, with all your allergies, there's no way you could do that. Or, oh, haha, that's a funny idea. And I was like, wait, this is what stops people. It's not only just the fear of failure and all these other things. It's got to be people that want to try and you have nobody to encourage you. And it's the stupidest thing, because if she had just only had those first 3 or 4 comments and not seen the few other people beyond that, she would have been just discouraged as all get out, because I came on there and was like, oh girl, you can do it. I have a friend that grows all kinds of stuff indoors. It's called the Kratky method. I can tell you where to find this channel. No joke. I literally went on there. I was plugging your channel. But I also, and then right after that was another friend of hers that said, oh, you should ask Auntie whatever. She gardens. And I was like, finally, somebody's encouraging her. But I was so surprised. People were just like, just lack of encouragement. And when we got here, we came from Maryland. We moved to Texas. We didn't know anything about the soil here. And we started planting. And we've said it in a video before on our lives. The gentleman across the street, we're meeting all our neighbors. We're all excited. And we're starting to till the ground. And we're putting compost down that we're freshly, just new at all this here. And he literally looked us in the eyes and said, you'll never grow anything over there. I've been trying for years to garden in this soil. And it's just terrible. You'll never grow a thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, he literally lives across the street, like catty corner to us. And if he can't grow, Eric, we can't grow. And he's like, yes, we can. We're not going to let this old man tell us what we can and can't do. And so we went and we did our thing. And our first season got washed out. The rain just washed an entire $300 worth of seeds and plants and materials, just washed it down. And I was so discouraged. But Eric was like, no, we're going to do this. Needless to say, we're successful now, but it was so discouraging. So I think sometimes people are so discouraged because they're not being encouraged to try and not being encouraged to do it. We have a great community here that's encouraging one another. But if you're not in this community already, you don't always know.
It's so true. It's so true. And I see that somebody, Slava said, if she is like me, if people tell me that I can't do something and encourages me, I want to prove them wrong. Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Brilliant Lisa decided to grow hydroponic tomatoes indoors. Apparently, I didn't realize Sweetheart cherry tomatoes are indeterminate. And the reality of it is things grow so much faster hydroponically. Well, they're hitting the ceiling and I can't even get them under the grow lights anymore. But is it the end of the world? No. I still have blossoms. The fruit is starting to grow. It's probably going to be slower because it's not getting light. Next year, after seeing Rochelle at Brampton Gardener grow that dwarf tomato in the house, dwarf hydroponics are the way to go. But is it, again, it's funny. Like, I'm glad I had that experience because I think it's hilarious. Somebody walked in my house the other day and I got 4 huge tomato plants that go from the floor to the ceiling. And of course, the people walk by at night and they think, I'm growing something illegal because I got them funky full spectrum lights going on. Then they walk in the house and somebody said, you got tomatoes? I said, working on it. Working on it. But excuse me. But that's the thing. And I think a lot of people give you the negative stuff and also complain but not take any action.
Yeah.
You know,
We got that. When
I
we
just
moved
want to
out
go
here.
to the. Oh, sorry. Did somebody have a comment?
I just said we got that when we moved out here. You're gonna do what? You want to grow your own stuff, and what do you mean? What do you mean you're buying a homestead or a farm? What's that? It was,
Yeah, I got. You're retiring? What?
we all
You're gonna
want
do
to.
YouTube? And I'm like, yeah. Why not? I have time to do YouTube. You know, and they were like, what? And I was like, it's not that I retired to do YouTube. You know what I mean? I retired for a reason, you know, and that's my job right now is running the entire farm as much as I can. The only time I pull Ryan in is for the projects because I don't have the skills. You know, today I built the turkey pen and I texted him and I was just like, I just need you to give it a once over and make sure it's safe, that they're not going to get hurt. But built me a turkey pen today.
You go like shake it aggressively.
No, it was more, I'm like overly ridiculous and worried that they're going to get hurt. You know, the chicken wire when it hangs on the end?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's like enough to spear something. And so I have this rectangular pen and I put a bent panel in there, right? Because it's temporary. It's all going to come down. And I put the chicken wire to the end of the cattle panel and I kind of bent it against the fence, but I need to be able to get in there to feed the meat birds by moving that panel.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it was one of those things where it's not ideal, but I just needed to make sure that I wasn't going to spear somebody, you know, because they're little birds. If they try to go through and they get stuck and come back, you know, I always think of those things, but it worked anyway. Let me see here.
I think
Does
that was one of
anybody, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, does anybody have
Go
any
ahead.
questions? Go ahead, Monica.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, well, Carla's got a good point. People get so disconnected from where food comes from, and they get so disconnected from all of it. It's funny because when we decided we were moving here, we didn't know what we were going to do once we got here. We just knew we were going to be here and go with whatever God says. And we started telling people back in Maryland what we were doing. They're like, yeah. I mean, they were like reminding me. They were like, remember, you grew up in the suburbs. Like, you grew up right outside of Baltimore, honey. You're not a farmer. I'm like, okay, well, guess what? I am now. So all y'all can suck it because I'm a farmer now. Yeah, that's it. So I took my city girl and I told him where to, you know, go as a farmer. But I mean, that's why I started doing my Facebook Lives. I created a Facebook page so that my family and friends in Maryland could see kind of what we were doing here, because they were like, they couldn't believe it. They were like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, way. This is something, I mean, we have animals. We have cows. We have chickens and ducks. And they're like, what are you going to do with them? I'm like, we're going to eat them. We're going to eat their eggs. We're going to love it. We're going to do everything we want to do. And it was just weird because they were just like, well, what are you going to do with that? It's weird how people get defensive when they see you doing something. And you're like, oh, you're jealous. Yeah. Maybe
yeah. And I love when they say things like, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to eat them. You know, like somebody, like the other day, someone had said to me something like, oh, your Cooney pigs, they're really, really cute. And what are you going to do with the piglets? And I'm like, well, if I can't sell them, I'm going to eat them. You know, because that's just the reality. You know, I want to sell them as piglets because, quite honestly, the piglets are going to bring me more revenue to sell the piglets, because people are driving from Nebraska, driving from other states to come and get them. And yes, they need a health certificate to cross state lines. I do know that. But yeah, and so, but the piglets are going to bring the revenue, not the meat, because I have to find a processor to do USDA inspections to sell it. So between a combination of sell the piglets or sell the piglets and then process it, and then be able to sell it that way. That's a different thing. You know what I mean?
And then you got to make sure the butcher can actually butcher at the time that they need to be at a correct weight for them to be butchered at.
Which is impossible right now. Impossible. I mean, don't get me, and yes, Charles, I saw that. Thank you, Charles at Bushcraft. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing is that even the ranchers here who have been doing what they've been doing for years and have set dates with people and just pick up the phone and they've got everything they need, they're going almost to Sioux Falls, which is across the state, just to find processors, which means if I buy a local cow, I have to drive across the state 5 or 6 hours to go to the processor to pick up my meat. That's not worth it for me because now I'm in a hot car transporting meat with coolers, whereas before I had to drive a half hour. We just lucked out when Maggie and Winston were processed. We lucked out that somebody said, hey, did you try the guy up in Newell? And I was like, no, never heard of him. I got up there and I was like, hey, we had and I don't want to use the term, but it is the term. It's called a kill floor. We had to make sure he had a kill floor. Otherwise, we had to take care of the dispatching. He had a kill floor, which worked out great. We loaded him up the night before, but that was last minute luck because he's now booked out for like a year.
Wow.
Which is insane. So it's like, what do you do? But anyway, I got off on a tangent. I apologize.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so after all of that, you're telling me that pork doesn't come in plastic bags. It actually, because my wife just brings home bacon and ham and everything in plastic bags.
Bad dog.
Bad dog.
That's
You
where
hear
it
that?
came from.
I was helping you.
Yeah, there you go.
I muted it. I don't understand how you hear it.
Maybe you have to wait 30 seconds.
No. Sorry.
Bad microphone.
Sorry.
It's not cool like mine.
So go ahead, Des. I'm sorry.
No, I was just shocked that pork and ham doesn't come in. It's somewhere before a plastic bag. I'm shocked. So.
Mine does. My pork comes in a plastic bag. It's actually like sealed, like airtight. It's really nice. That's when I go pick it up from the butcher. Then it's in a nice sealed bag. So mine is in plastic too. I don't get the paper wrap stuff because it doesn't last as long. Because I need some of mine to last a little longer. So, but I did get, sometimes steak comes paper wrap, but most of my stuff comes in plastic. Wow. But I take it to the butcher, take it on the hoof and then it comes back.
Yeah, all jokes aside, that's something that I can't do here, unfortunately, which I just think is fantastic that, the whole raise it yourself and process it and benefit from it and sharing with others or selling to others in the community. And as Monica and Eric have said before in videos, supporting local farmers and sellers and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful thing. And unfortunately, I can't be a part of that initial process. And it's not a regret because I love living here where I am, but it is something where I say Monica, Eric, Lisa, Ryan, processing their own animals and having such beautiful produce. And it's amazing.
There's a farm for sale about a half a mile from me, Daz.
I say to my wife all the time, when we go next time when we build the farmhouse, I'm going to do this. And she's like, yeah, I hope you enjoy it because the kids and I will say hello from here, or we'll give you a call from here.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Of course you can, because, I'm not yelling at Diesel. But they actually had sadly, it was a full degree. I don't know that I have another degree in me right now, but they have one on processing. And I was hoping to go and maybe take a few classes, but not do the degree program. because I thought that would help me help Ryan, because Ryan knows how to do it. He's done it. But I thought that would be good skills for me to learn if Ryan's not here. You know what I mean?
You mean like process your own animals?
Yes.
I mean, look, we've done a cow, we've done a pig. I mean, large ones. We've done lots of them. We've done a goat.
Turkeys.
We've processed every animal that's been on, and extras that haven't been on our farm. We did a goat for a friend of ours who needed help. She couldn't do it. It was like her sweet mama. She couldn't. So she brought her here, and Eric helped. And we've only watched YouTube videos. We've never had anybody come here and give us a hands-on guide.
Right.
We have
Wow.
watched YouTube videos and figured it out. I mean, everything that we've done here on our farm, everything we've accomplished here has been just by the grace of God and a really good YouTube video that we've watched, 500 times or whatever. I mean, classes are great, but if you find a couple good YouTube videos, Lisa.
Yeah.
I mean,
do not buy meat from Bland's.
we ended up
take
doing.
our stuff to the processor now.
Daz, your microphone's on.
Yeah, sorry. Dear Mom, I love you. Bye.
There's actually there's a book, and I can't remember the name of it. I've showed it before, but there was a book that a YouTuber suggested, because Ryan, it had been years since Ryan used to work on a sheep farm, and they did all that stuff, and they had pigs with farrowing crates and all that stuff. So he did all that stuff, but it had been years since he did it, and he wanted to kind of just brush up on his knowledge to make sure that when he was doing cuts and everything like that. And so we bought this book, and it was absolutely amazing because it was just a great refresher. So I should probably just read that. But
well, I mean, look, we don't do all the butchering here for our beef and all that. But when I say we have learned how to do it, we've only learned how to do it because we feel like as responsible farmers, as responsible animal owners, we needed how to dispatch properly every animal that's on our farm. Right. If we don't, then what will happen if something did happen, we couldn't get to a processor and a cow went down? What do? We sit there and say, oh, well, we're just going to shoot it and bury it. I don't feel like that's responsible. First of all, I put a lot of money into our large animals. And if I don't know how to properly dispatch an animal that needs help, or not needs help, but that needed help, that we cared for it as best we could, and then we had to put it down, I would be really upset if I couldn't take part in that animal and have that animal give back to us. Now, obviously, if there's a sick animal, we're not going to consume the meat. But the thing is that knowing how to process one, knowing how to be able to complete that from the start of us owning the animal and caring for the animal to finish it out that way, we felt like it was something we need to be responsible and learn how to do. We had owned animals for years. We've owned cattle since we moved here, and we just really did our own cattle in 2020. And that was because the processors are all shut down. We found a local guy who was doing deer season. And I went to him and said, look, me, we've had a great relationship in the past few years. He's never butchered for us before, but we were wondering if we brought a cow in, if you could finish off the rest of it. And he's like, I can't kill it. I can't start the process, but if you quarter it and bring it to me, I'll do the rest. And I said, deal Z. Because I don't have the capacity to make the meat sausages and the cuts. I don't have the machines to cut it up like that. If I had to, I'd figure it out. But he did it. And so we did all the other processing. We did all the original evisceration and all the cutting so that we could take it to him and he could finish it. But knowing how to do it, it was such an accomplishment. It was such a thing here for us. And it was a big deal. And we've never done it since. But now we know that if something happens and we can't get to the processor, we can do it.
Wow, good on you.
So somebody has a question in the chat. It's Ultimate Acres. They said, I have a question about chicks. Now that it's summer, can I let chicks play around in their run? How old are they? And what's the temperature at your house? And the reason why, while you're typing that, what I'm saying is for us, if I have a chick who needs a 95-degree light for a brooder light, because they've just come home in the first week, well, my 50-degree nights are not a good time for them to be running around. I know that our brooder room tends to run a lot cooler because it's in the garage. but quite honestly, I think that works for us. But they have to be fully feathered. They need to be usually 4 weeks is fully feathered. I'm just waiting for Ultimate Acres to respond here. I got everybody else. Ooh, somebody just came in here. Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve. Yep, the cool kids are all on the panel.
Just getting back to gardening, I was saying I replied to Rich's video where he set up his new the mat and the raised beds and everything. That's made me want to go out there and just pull everything apart and start from scratch again, because I just love that setup, Rich. It's just so good.
Hopefully it's gonna. You know what? My dad said if you're gonna do something, do it right. And I'm getting to an age where I don't want to do things over and over, and that's why people have given me a little bit of shtick on the side about buying those cattle troughs, and they were expensive, but they're going to outlast me as raised beds. I am not making wood raised beds, and then 5 years from now, after they rot, making raised wood beds, and then doing it again and again. I'm doing it once and done. So hopefully that will keep the garden fabric down. We just had such winds in the winter, it took it up. So I'm hoping.
It's a great investment though too, Rich. I mean, if you think about it, what you've done is you just made a huge investment in your future, not only your growing future, but you can use that for your animals too, because they make great brooder pens for chickens if you need it, or ducks or whatever. So it's not like you just invested in a one purpose only thing. It's so multi-purpose. It's, it'd have been foolish maybe if it would be foolish for people to give you a hard time over something like that. Maybe if you were buying a raised bed only, something you could only use for raised beds, and then it was super expensive and they're like, oh my gosh. But even then, that's not their business. So I
could dump it out. I have drilled some holes in it. I've kind of modified it but I do have one left that is unmodified for use in chicks.
Do you want to know what I did? Do you want to know what I did this week? We bought a Rubbermaid water trough for the pigs for the winter. And, I fill it every night. I dump it, I fill it. And one night I fill it and I go out there and the water's half gone. And I went, oh, we finally did it in with the winter we had here. I must have hit it and it cracked. Mind you, we bought the Rubbermaid because we were being cheap. So I said to Ryan, I said to him, I said, well, the tank's gone. I said, it's done. I said, so, and he said, well, go get another one. I said, no, I said, duct tape it up. We're going to use that as the brooder. I'm going to take the metal one from the brooder and put that one out there. So the pigs got themselves a nice metal trough now that's even bigger. And the black yucky brooder got washed up with some vinegar, and it's in the house and they're sitting there. Good to go. And Ultimate Acres answered, so I just wanted to tell you, your chicks need to be 4 weeks old, fully feathered. Hold on one second. Good night, Cow Emporium. I saw your message. Thanks for being here.
See you, Nat. See you, Glenn.
Bye, Glenn. Bye, Nat.
Bye. Thank you. So Ultimate Acres, you need to have your chicks fully feathered at 4 weeks old. So you definitely want to look up, because it's a step down process of the heating degrees from the light, and you want to have it say at like 95 degrees, and then you bump it down and all that stuff. I'm going to be honest, don't ask me, because I just do what I need to do. I don't even look at the temperature anymore, because there's no chance I'm getting 95 degrees in my garage in the wintertime, and they do fine. But you need to follow the directions for chicks. And when they're 4 weeks old and they got rid of all that fluff and down that makes them look really adorable, if the weather is warm out, they can go outside. I always say harden them off. I do the same thing with my chicks that I do with my seedlings. I give them a week of no heat lamp or a few days of no heat lamp, and then I kind of send them outside, but I don't send them outside when it's 30 degrees out. So it's really something you have to look up. For example, today it was 80 something degrees. The turkeys had been without a brooder light for 3-4 days, and it was going to be 50 degrees tonight. So I was like, you know what? The thunderstorm passed us. We didn't get any rain. They're not going to get wet. They're going to be fine. So we put them out, and by the time it gets cold again in the 20s, they'll be good.
They'll huddle up.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Mm.
You got some older ones. They will go. I've got my 2-week-olds out in the pole barn. Now it's a little warmer in there, but they're out with the 4-week-olds, and the 4-week-old, they all snuggle together. It is the funniest thing. And the 4-week-old actually put their wings out over the little ones. It's the cutest thing. And I have yet to get a picture because they startle and spread even in the middle of the night, but they huddle together and it's like they're hugging the little ones. It is
That's so cute.
thing. I know. If I could get a picture.
I was going to tell you, even if you put holes in the bottom of those bins, you can still use them for chick brooders later on. I mean, we have actually a metal one that someone was like, I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm like, I'll take it. And so I use it for a turkey brooder right now. She actually had a wooden lid made where you can open these flaps, and it's like this mesh there in the top. So when it's a cool night, if I have some chicks or ducklings or turkeys, like right now, I close up one of them so that, they have airflow, but I close up one of the tops, but the bottom of it is completely, it's just rusted all to bits. And so we've actually taken and put a lining down, and then we'll put the bedding on top of it, and it's awesome. So yeah, you can use it even if it's a rusted bottom or holes in the bottom.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, what I put in the bottom of mine, because the bottom of those metal troughs are slick. Good night, Grace and Fire. They're very slick. And so I always put a couple puppy pads in the bottom with the white cloth up. And then I lay a thick layer of shavings. That way, if they dig through. Now, the turkeys dug right through it. So it was a good thing because they weren't slipping on it. They had some grip. However, in the truck brooder box, that one also, because of the aluminum, it's very slick. But I love that brooder box. That is the coolest thing ever. Good night, Kettle Kitchen.
It's cool when you find something that works too. That's the thing. Like this one that the lady gave me, we ended up using it Eric used it for hay. So we put some hay in it for the weanlings we had in the corral up front here for a few weeks. And I didn't have any chicks or ducklings or anything to put into it. So he was like, I'm just going to take this and use it. So we threw a load of hay in it, and then the hay started to decompose, and it's outside. It's in the weather. It's a metal trough. Nobody cares. And so now I have this thick layer, it must be like this much, of decomposed hay at the bottom that's now turned into this gorgeous black compost that I've basically layered. Hey guys, sorry, my big children come walking in all rudely.
Bad children.
Rude.
Bad children.
Rude. That's the 20-year-old and graduate, my high school graduates. It's got this like layer of beautiful compost, and we moved it out to the barn, and I'm like, I'm just going to leave this compost in here. So I just keep piling stuff on top of it. So the turkeys out there only have like half of the brooder height wise that they can use, because the rest of it is this like gorgeous compost. And I told Eric, when they're out of here, when I'm done with these turkeys and this brooder, I'm going to dump everything, just flip the whole thing over in compost, because it's already got this gorgeous layer of black soil at the base of it. I'm like, well, it's got some good stuff in there, and the turkeys scratch around it and everything. So it's worked out so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I had told Ryan, he bought the plastic weld for his welder. And I was like, weld the darn thing. You know what I mean? Like, just weld it. And then when we decided to drop the tanks, he's like, the cracks are not going to bother them one bit. And it's fine. I just scrubbed it out, and it's good to go. So we are at the end. We're like 2 minutes to the end. I just want to make sure Leanne's been quiet over there, looking mischievous, though.
No.
Yeah, man.
You've been quiet on the flashcards tonight.
No, I haven't. Everybody go see Old Sweet Farms and help the YouTuber out.
They need you to
watch.
I'm a little shy.
How's that? How's that my 2 cents?
I'm a little shy.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I want to do one plug. Why you garden? When you said gardening stuff, it reminded me. Usually Memorial Day weekend we plant, and I always want to see how much can we grow here. We sell some stuff. my final squash from last year. The final one. We're at that circle of life because we're going to plant this weekend. So my final wall fam. Now this is not very big, but it's not like last night on Monica's show, the 80-something pounder. This thing is maybe, I don't know, 8 ounces, but we made it a year.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it dawned on me we didn't even talk about the challenge, and I apologize for that. So why don't you throw that out here at least at the end so folks watching the replay can get that.
If people want to, really challenge themselves, and this came from Annette that was with us earlier with Glenn. She did a $50 challenge for February, or $15 a week, and I can't add weeks and dollars and stuff. So I just said, what if we did $50? So if you've got a family of 2, the challenge is you can only spend $50 in food next February, 28 days, $50. Other than that, you got to grow your food. You got 8.5 months or so now. Grow your food, go forage, hunt, fish, trade, whatever, and stock up. Don't go January 31st and buy stuff and fill your pantry. The object is to fill your pantry all, preserve and
whatever.
What's 225?
That's how much she's allowed.
Oh, because she's got all that. You do get an extra $25 per child. That's illegal, dependent on your taxes, Monica. So
I've got 7 dependents living in my house. Now, mind you, that people are like,
check out the video on my channel. Sorry.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what. My video, I'm gonna mention how much we have, because I'm getting ready to do my video here soon. But I will say $225. I mean, because you guys, I'm sure Daz understands what is a normal grocery bill for a household like mine. $225 is a dream grocery bill. So yeah. I am really excited because I'm sure Daz can relate. He's got plenty of kids living at home, and it's going to be exciting. I've already started putting things away. I'm super excited because
I want to see those videos.
If I can do this, I'm so excited.
Good. We've got like 22 channels joining us, and I should say 22 other people. Some don't have channels. They're joining us. So you can see there's a video on. Most of us are involved in it, so you can check out the videos and get all the details. It'll be fun.
Yeah, my video is coming out soon. I told Eric I need him to help me make it because he makes my videos look so much better. Like any of the videos I've been putting out lately, any of them that just have me in them, I'm not doing any of the editing. That's all Eric. So he's really excited to be able to do all the different transitions and stuff. That's not me at all. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to make it. You just do something with it because I can't make it look pretty. So
it'll be hard for those like in the Southern Hemisphere. They're going to be mid-season. We get a full season to prepare for it and put away and prepare and pickle and preserve. And those in the Southern Hemisphere, they're just learning about it. You get a half a season and then it's on you. So extra challenge.
Absolutely. And so even if you don't want to do the challenge, meaning you don't want to do it on YouTube, right? Follow along and try it yourself. I encourage you to do it because I really think it's a great thing to do. Again, Rich, I apologize that I didn't think of it until this late. But I want to thank all of the panel for being here. Slava from Kitchen Garden Therapy. She stepped off so we could make sure we had enough room because, again, I can't count. So that was my problem. Thanks to Leanne for telling me that that's 7, not 6.
I was like,
But please check out Slava at Kitchen Garden Therapy. Please check out Annette and Glenn at the Cow Emporium. Please check out Daz at My Aussie Garden and Kitchen. Monica and her husband Eric, who is not on tonight but is in the background playing with the children, which is more important, at Bland's Promised Land Ranch. And obviously Rich and his wife Holly over at the Old Swedes Farm. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. I think it was a good discussion on things.
And Leanne.
Oh, I thought I said Leanne at the Mennonite.
It's all right.
I thought I said that.
It's all right.
Everybody, please check out Leanne at the Mennonite Farmhouse.
If you don't know who I am yet.
I'm sorry, Leanne. I thought I said it. I apologize.
It's Gucci.
It's Gucci. You know I love you. So
you'll definitely get a great variety of growing situations and sizes, and I guess because I'm on the other side of the planet, even seasons by going around the different channels. Yeah, so
Well,
yeah, I think Lisa, just thank you very much for asking myself, and a really good variety of like people of different sizes and situations. Thanks.
You're welcome, and I'm optimistic that I won't have to do a garden parody like I did last year. Some of you may not remember that, and some of you may, but yeah, I'm hoping that I don't have to do a garden parody. I can actually go look at my big tomatoes and they're huge versus my little green ones on the vine. So
Lisa,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm just absorbing this moment because normally you do this to me. Lisa, I'm sure you'd want to thank the mods for their hard work tonight in the live stream.
I did thank them earlier. I typed it in the chat, but thank you, mods, for all you do. Thank you,
Sorry,
moderators.
for anyone that doesn't know, Lisa does that to me all the time because I'm terrible. I forget.
I'm getting just as bad, but thank you, moderators, for working so hard tonight. I appreciate you all.
Especially that Nightbot.
Nightbot.
Especially that Nightbot.
I've
Or
tried
the real
subscribing
Nightbot
to that channel, and I just can't.
Or the real Nightbot, Lisa Colovi. Or
Lisa
Jesse, the mod
Colovi,
father.
Jesse and Andale and a whole bunch of you are modding. I appreciate it. So, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful, safe, enjoyable weekend. Thank you for being here tonight. And for
Hey, can I
sharing.
say something quick?
Yeah.
Kitchen Kettle's having a live in 20-some minutes for the first Friday night live. If you want to go do a love raid, I'm not going to be joining you because I'm on the East Coast and I have toothpicks in my eyelids already. So go catch Kitchen Kettle. I always say that backwards. There's a reason why I say it that way because there's a restaurant in Lancaster County called Kitchen Kettle.
It's late, Leanne. It's all right.
It's late. No, well, I'm dyslexic too. But yeah, Kettle
Good
Kitchen.
night.
Go check them out.
Good night, Charles and Bushcrafty. Good night, everybody in the chat. Check out Tony at Kettle Kitchen. He'll be live in 20 minutes. And again, watch for us tomorrow because I'm going to meet Sandy at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
Yes.
And
Have
hopefully
fun.
there'll be a live on her channel. And if not, there'll be a video with mine. But we're real excited. We're going to be swapping some stuff tomorrow. It's so cool.
Very cool.
So again, to the panel, thank you very much. Have a great weekend, guys.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.